to Diggs, and he just runs away. Not a chance, Patriots. Scores on that one, 50-yard touchdown, 24-9, heading into halftime. First drive out of halftime. 1st and 10 on the Patriots 18. Play fake, and Diggs pulling through for the touchdown, walks right in. 2nd touchdown catch of the game for Diggs. Bill Belichick, you think he's pleased? I don't think so. 31-9, 1st and goal. Josh Allen rolls left and somehow finds, you guessed it, Stephon Diggs for his 3rd touchdown of the game. Allen threw 4 TDs in total. Bills win this one 38-9, and they are now 1 win away from locking down the number 2 seed in a tight AFC playoff race, with the Chiefs already clinching the top spot. ESPN's FBI gives the Browns the lowest chance to make the postseason. Now, yesterday, this is interesting. Rex Ryan was asked which team could give the Chiefs the biggest issue, and here's what he said. Take a listen.
It's the Baltimore Ravens right here, man. Lamar Jackson, I'm sorry, but when Lamar's playing like this, it's unreal. I mean, Baltimore now, they can run the ball better than any team in the league. This rookie running back, Dobbins, has been amazing. And then when Lamar's got that thing running, he can dial up Hollywood Brown. He can dial up those tight ends. Dez Bryant now shows up in the red zone. I love the way Baltimore is playing right now. And their defense, we can say what we want, but their defense is about as good as it gets in the league.
That's very interesting, considering the Ravens aren't even in the playoffs yet. But I got to ask you guys, and Marcus, I'll start with you. Do you agree that outside of the Chiefs, maybe the Bills, the Ravens are the scariest team in the AFC?
Yeah, and it really doesn't have anything to do for me with the talent. We understand the talent. The defense is phenomenal, and then you see what Lamar Jackson is doing. It's about the mentality for me. Like, we talk about this team coming into the playoffs being 0-2, but that was off of successful regular seasons. They're playing in the playoffs right now. Like, the Ravens have been in the playoffs for the last 3 weeks, and we've seen the switch get flipped for this team and the way Lamar is playing and operating, and you're looking at what this team has had the ability to do. And I think it's going to bode well for these young players on this football team. Like, understanding playoff football is a different animal. Knowing that sense of urgency, understanding how important it is every single play for you to try to have success. They've been having to play that way. And I think the experience of Lamar Jackson losing in the playoffs prior to, the way they've been having to play down the stretch, understanding where they are, backs against the wall, that dog against everybody else mentality, I think it's going to bode well for him. And Lamar Jackson, it seems like Greg Roman and this team has said, okay, our quarterback is the best player on the field outside of probably when Patrick Mahomes is on the field, or Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen. That'll be comparable to what he's doing as far as what he's bringing to the team. But dynamic, athleticism, the way he can flip a play into a positive that looks absolutely bad, there's none like Lamar Jackson. And I think they're figuring that out, and they're having to play that way in order to have success. And I think that's going to bode well for them going forward.
Jeff, let's talk about this, though. This is a team that has, let's be honest, they have flopped in the playoffs. Last year, it was, they're going to take it all the way, no problem, and they flopped. So what do you think? Are they the scariest team now? Are they going to turn this around if they make the playoffs?
No, listen, I love what Swagoo's saying about Lamar Jackson, and Rex is obviously really excited about the Ravens. I will say they're probably the most difficult team to prepare for. Who have they beat? Like Swagoo's saying, they've been in the playoffs the last 4 or 5 weeks. No, because they ain't played any playoff teams. You know what I mean? Like you have to beat playoff teams in the playoffs. This offense is really good when they have a lead, and they've shown that, right? They can run the ball, they can do all these things. All that is impressive. But at the end of the day, if they get behind, this is not a team that can come back and win. That's going to be the issue. Because whether you're chasing the Bills, the Chiefs, possibly even the Steelers, if those teams get up on you, it takes Baltimore completely out of their game. If I could trust that Greg Roman and this Ravens offense would stay doing what they're doing, and not get back to, hey, we got to make them a pocket passer. We're going to have to throw the ball to beat some teams, whatever that looks like. That's the part that I get concerned with. I like the Ravens on defense. I love them running the football. I'm not sure they can go point for point against some of these AFC football teams.
Yeah, and that's a trouble spot, Dan. How do you think this sets them up in the playoffs? How do they look to you?
Well, they look better than they've looked all year, right? And I think, the defense should be able to get healthier on the back end here going forward, which will help. We've talked throughout the year about the problems they've had in the run game. They had retirements and injuries on the offensive line, so that's taken some time to put back together. But since that Cleveland game, that great Monday night game, they've looked like themselves. And I think that's what scares you if you're in the AFC, because over the past couple of years, when the Ravens have been operating the way they want to, they've been this kind of, scary-looking bully type of team. There is film on how to beat them in the playoffs from Tennessee last year, from the Chargers the year before. So it's not like, there's some sort of dominant unit, but they've likely learned from those experiences. Sometimes those heartbreaking losses can come back and help you the next year. You learn from them. So I think they're a team to watch for sure, assuming they get in, because right now they're operating their offense the way they like to.
All right. Hey, Swagger, just a quick thing here. Do you think this is a better team than last year's team?
No, I don't think the talent is the same, but I think the experience and the way they're going into this playoffs does better for them than they did last year.
Okay, all right. We'll see how that plays out for them. So for a team that might be on the rise to a team that is definitely falling, the Philadelphia Eagles, 22-24-1 since winning the Super Bowl and the famous Philly special. Now they're dealing with a quarterback controversy. They've officially been eliminated from the playoffs. Head coach Doug Peterson thinks, though, he'll be back next season.
There's always going to be evaluation in the off season, and obviously my job is evaluated as well. But I fully expect to be the coach next season, and I welcome that opportunity to get things right and get things fixed, and take this team into next season.
Now, guys, I got to think that winning a Super Bowl just back in 2018 has got to be worth something, but this has been a very difficult year for Doug Peterson, for these Eagles. And Dan Graziano, I wonder if the way this quarterback situation has played out this season, if that, despite his accolades, despite his Super Bowl in a Philadelphia town that was dying for such a win for so many decades, could it eventually cost Peterson his job?
It's certainly part of the conversation, right? I mean, Carson Wentz has had a major letdown year when a lot of pressure was on him and on Doug Peterson to deliver in adverse circumstances, all the injuries they've had, et cetera, and they didn't do it. And the failure of Wentz this year, if that's laid at Peterson's feet, that's certainly a point against him as the organization decides whether to make a change at the head coaching position. So we will see. Jeffrey Lurie's the kind of owner that will take everything into consideration, that likely won't make his decision until after the regular season is over, which is in 5 days. And so this time next week, we'll have a better sense of what's going on. But Peterson obviously is trying to make sure everyone knows, and that's the general public, that's his current employer, that's potential future employers. Hey, I know what I'm doing. I won a Super Bowl not long ago. Don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Okay, so Jeff Saturday, does that save his job?
His job shouldn't be in jeopardy anyway. Like you're talking about, we're prisoners of the moment, and a snapshot in time that his job should be up. I mean, listen, it's been a bad year. You got an offensive line that's decimated with injury. You have your $100 million player that, by the way, the owner, GM, and you all agreed on was going to be your franchise, who has struggled. You ultimately push on and move on to Jalen Hurts, who's giving you a spark of some sort. But again, they beat the Saints, but they're not winning games. They're still struggling in different pieces and parts. Doug Peterson didn't just forget how to coach. A few years ago, they won the Super Bowl. You just saw him getting Gatorade dumped on him, right? Last year, they battled back to make it. I'm just not in for a snapshot. You have a bad season, all of a sudden you're going to fire this guy. I mean, do decisions need to be made? And he just addressed them. Absolutely they do. But his job being in jeopardy, I think, is a ridiculous conversation.
Here's the thing, though. You're 4-10-1, Marcus. And when that happens, the discussion comes up. He has to at least address that. And that seems like what he's doing. But what do you think?
Yeah, he has to address it, but it shouldn't be a damn question whether Doug Peterson is back as the coach. Man, what are we talking? I played for the Dallas Cowboys, guys. It's been a long time since a Super Bowl happened there. It's been a long time, a real long time. And for a coach to prove just 2 years ago that he could win a Super Bowl and then take a team that's limping limping throughout the season and have a fortune, be able to get them into the playoffs last year. And we talking about his job after a season. Like, I get it.
How long?
I
But let me
understand
ask you
Carson
this
Wentz.
then. How long does that buy him? Because